Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, he went from handsome star athlete to addict.
This boy's going to be D-E-A-D dead.
Strokes, induced comas.
Enabling's not a big enough word. You've put him in the car and driven him to get drugs.
I have.
The system failed this kid, and now his parents are going to fail him too?
I'm killing my own son.
You have no idea how far I'm willing to go to get him off drugs. And if you get in the way, I'll run right over your ass.
And the shocking moment
There was one thing Cameron confessed to while filming.
that could put him behind bars for life.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, Cameron says growing up in a small rural Texas town, sports were everything. And excelling at them made him a local hero. Homecoming king, a standout quarterback, and a three-time all-district pitcher. That was until injuries destroyed Cameron's athletic career. With the injuries came surgeries. And with the surgeries came pain pills, lots of them. Turning this all-star athlete into a heroin addict, a criminal whose dirty needle left him needing heart surgery just to save his life. And his dreams of going pro, well, they were just destroyed. Athletes struggling with addiction after being injured is way more common than you might think. And Cameron's mother, Rena, father Bobby, and cousin Taylor say Cameron is sadly one of those statistics. Take a look.
Cameron, he was a great athlete. Started playing baseball at the age of 10, and from then on, that was his game.
He was a left-handed pitcher, hit right-handed, made first team all-district as a freshman, as a sophomore, played quarterback some, played wide receiver some, and always played on defense.
Cameron was Bobby and Rena's whole life. Sports, the newspaper articles, all of it. It was everything they did. Cameron was the golden boy.
He was our pride and joy. Now, Cameron is addicted to heroin, hydrocodones, Xanax, clozapines.
Cameron has driven under the influence many times. Cameron wrecked his Camaro and then wrecked Rena's vehicle.
He's been arrested 7 times. He and his friends were stealing phones, power tools, pawning them.
This is where I realized I came to get a saw. The case was still here. The saw was missing.
When I can't get pills, what I do is I take a lot of Xanax bars.
I'm sleeping with Xanax and money in my bra and the keys in my pillowcase so my son won't take off.
I'm not a nice person on Xanax. I'm very angry and mean.
A few months ago, he drilled into my safe to get medication, money, my ring, and I told him, I'm done, Cameron. Get out of my house.
And at that point, he knocked the back glass out of her back door.
I mean, I didn't know this glass was that fragile, but I went right through it.
Cut himself.
Sliced my thumb right there, right there.
He was bleeding everywhere.
Then was arrested at the hospital for going through boxes at the nurse's station.
There's no getting high anymore unless I use an astronomical amount.
When Cameron was 19 years old, that was when he was diagnosed with the first stroke.
That's why I limp a little bit when I walk.
With that stroke, he lost the ability to walk, and he had to learn how to do some of life's simplest things all over again.
He then got an infection. It came from the use of a dirty needle.
I had liver failure, kidney failure, and a stroke.
He went through 8 weeks of dialysis because his kidneys had shut down completely.
He had lost well over 100 pounds and had gone from an athlete to skin and bones.
Cameron, he had a lot of respect of a lot of the people here in this community. They actually did a fundraiser.
And everybody rallied around and raised money to help us pay for his medical.
When the community got together and was there to support him, it was a lot different than where we're at now.
Okay, let's just jump right in here because we've got a lot to do. You two have just recently separated, correct?
Yes, sir.
How long ago?
3 months ago.
3 months, 4 months.
So really recently.
Really recently.
Okay, and this is because you cannot agree on how to help your son.
I wanted to send him out the door, have him figure it out on his own, and that was not what she wanted.
Okay, now, Taylor, you're his cousin, so you got a little bit of distance from this. What do you see here looking at this from the outside in?
From my perspective, I just see two different styles of parenting. You've got one on one end that thinks that putting him out is going to do the job, and then one on the other hand that thinks that love will be enough one day.
That's an interesting way to put it, that love will be enough. Enabling's not a big enough word for what you're doing, is it?
No, sir, it's not. I just want to save him.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. He's killing himself with drugs, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Anybody disagree with that?
No.
No.
Do you disagree that if he continues to do what he's doing, we will be having a funeral very soon?
That's correct.
Does anybody doubt that?
No.
Because I want to be real clear about what the stakes are here. And you have no idea how far I'm willing to go to get him off drugs. You have no idea. And if you get in the way, I'll run right over your ass. So you need to understand that. So I need to know whether you should even be out here or not. Because if you're not strong enough to play this game, you need to be gone.
No, sir.
If you're not strong enough, I need to know what I have to work with here. Because this boy's going to be dead. D-E-A-D, dead. So I want to know that that's real to you. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Because you say you have one goal here, and that is to keep your son alive. Is that true?
Yes. I feel like if I have breath in me, that I'm here to help him.
I don't believe you. I don't believe a word you're saying. How long y'all been married?
30 years.
30 years.
And you gave her an ultimatum. You said you either get on the bandwagon here of stop enabling him, you're going to choose him or you're going to choose me. And you dumped your 30-year husband to go out and continue enabling your son to do drugs.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I look back thinking why I did that. I still do not understand myself and the reason why I continue to do that.
Oh, I'll tell you why in a minute, because to me, it's as clear as you got a flashing sign over the top of your head. Now, okay, and let's be real clear here. This is not an evil young man we're talking about here. This is a young man that had a legitimate problem in terms of his shoulder here. He had to have surgery. He had a rib removed. And the first prescription he's given is 90 opioids to use over 30 days. And then he has another surgery. He has a problem with a labial tear. And so he's given more opioids with refills every 4 months.
Correct.
So they're just throwing opioids at this kid like M&Ms.
Yes.
I'm not judging how he got there. The system failed this kid.
Right.
And now his parents are going to fail him too?
Not going to happen.
It is happening.
No.
It is happening. He has been in the hospital with an infected heart valve from using a dirty needle. And why did he go to heroin? Because it's cheaper than the opioids.
Right.
A life-threatening trip to the ER that landed Cameron in an induced coma. So where did he get the pills that nearly killed him? Well, I'm going to ask Rena after the break. We're going to meet him later, but not yet, because I don't know where I stand Army-wise. We'll be back.
Rena is enabling Cameron to death.
Bobby has no idea how much Cameron has stolen from me.
Rena cooks for him, cleans for him.
He is a mama's boy. That's why it's been so hard for me to say no to him. I just feel like maybe I'm his savior.
Cameron's overdosed a couple of times. This is where I walked into the bathroom and found him laying in the floor. 4 needles syringes on the countertop. I hollered at him a couple of times. Eventually, he raised his head up. He didn't have any idea where he was.
The second time Cameron OD'd, he had taken 25 of my Xanax, and I thought I had lost him. He was still breathing, but barely.
I'm probably going to get a phone call at some point here that he is dead.
Well, parents Rena and Bobby agree on one thing, that their son's drug addiction began with pain pills prescribed by licensed physicians after a legitimate sports injury. Rena insists she will do whatever it takes to save her son's life, even if it means driving Cameron to the very drugs that are killing him. Take a look.
Rena is enabling Cameron to death.
Bobby still, to this day, has no idea how much Cameron has stolen from me. Cameron would steal my iPads and he would go pawn them. I would find the pawn ticket. I would go get it out with Bobby not knowing.
Rena cooks for him, cleans for him, washes his clothes. She takes care of pretty much whatever he needs.
He is a mama's boy. That's why it's been so hard for me to say no to him. I have driven into neighborhoods looking for heroin.
That's the type of hold that Cameron has on me.
I started realizing he's using rehabs just as a means to stop a problem. I started taking things away. I sold his cars. I turned his phones off. I'm trying to get him in jail because that's the safest place for him. As a last straw, I moved him out of state. I put him up in a halfway house. 2 months into that, he was obviously using. Then I found out his mother had put about $1,000 in his bank account.
I just feel like maybe I'm his savior.
That is when I was done. I told her he could no longer live in my house.
I had to make a choice between my husband or my son, and I chose my son over a 30-year marriage.
I do not have the strength to kick my son out of the house.
She has made a choice to leave me.
I am mad as hell at Bobby for giving me an ultimatum.
Well, you said that's when I was done, because up until then, you were in cahoots with her on this enabling, right?
Yeah, we fought back and forth quite a few times about it, but I was still.
Yeah, bottom line, you were right there with
Correct.
her. He's been arrested 7 times, right? We've got his mug shots. Yeah, we've got his mug shots. He keeps getting arrested. And you realize that it's not just the drugs that are killing, that have the potential of killing him. There's the street life that can kill him as well. He's been shot at point blank.
Yes.
I mean, the windshield deflected the bullet enough, but he was shot at point blank, like aimed right between his eyes with a gun.
That's what he told me.
He stabbed somebody.
No, I did not know that.
Did not know that. That's a new one for you, huh?
Yes, sir.
Cameron says in order to get money, he hustles and deals drugs. He says he's safe because his customers are rich white kids.
This is my block. This is my beat. I'll come to your house. Or they'll meet me halfway. You know, hand try to boom. I was making $1,200 a week.
Selling what?
Heroin. Hiding it from my mom. I got a safe upstairs. She didn't know I even had it. I could have paid this whole rent. I would still ask her for money so she didn't know I had money. It's really sleazy of me, but that's what I was doing.
My dealer used to front me with drugs, you know, probably 3 grams or so, and I would take my cut from that after I sold it and get high for free pretty much. I just got out of jail for a Class A theft. You know, I was in solitary confinement for 15 days.
Here we are, being released, hoping this would be the last time. So, Dr. Phil, please, we need your help.
I make connections in rehab and jail. I sell to the richer white kids, upper class white kids. But see, I wasn't even making too much profit because I was using up all my profit. I'm the only white boy college athlete, you know, clean-cut kind of white person that sells. I stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, they all know me here. This town's bad with a lot of heroin addicts and a lot of meth addicts.
I can't even count how many friends I've lost to this drug. I've had a guy die in my arms from ODing. His heart exploded from cocaine and heroin. Foamed out the mouth, and then I feel his chest and his heart wasn't beating. He was done. I don't feel in danger, but it depends on if I owe people money. You know, I really don't have many enemies here. Usually I keep a firearm on me. I don't have a felony, so I'm licensed to shoot. I'm gonna tell you how I robbed the guy. The guy had 2 ounces of heroin and I had my script of Xanax, and I had a plan that day where I was just gonna feed him a bunch of Xanax so he blacked out and forgot what he was doing. We go back to his house and he falls right asleep and leaves the 2 ounces on the table. So I unlock his phone and delete the messages like we didn't even talk, and I take the 2 ounces and walk out the door. And I didn't sell one piece off that 2 ounces, I did it all.
It's really shameful, man, but it's what my addiction's brought me to.
Learn anything there?
A whole lot.
What?
About the dealing, the neighborhoods that he deals with, the gun. I never knew he would carry a firearm. I didn't know he had a firearm.
Cameron made a confession that he quickly regretted. You're going to find out what that is after the break.
Everything that I do, I really do feel like that I am helping my son.
Let's make no bones about it. You're doing this to make yourself feel better, but hell with him.
My husband and I had drove up to a trap house, not knowing what we were going to get into. We did have our guns, and we personally drug him out of that house.
I'm a hairdresser, and I'm a packing mama. You do anything for your kids.
I have no regrets for doing that.
Now, I want y'all to watch this very carefully. There was one thing Cameron confessed to while filming that may be the worst of all of his confessions, and I have this on tape, and I told you guys at the beginning, there's nothing I won't do to get him off of drugs. So this is an important tool for me. Watch very carefully.
You saw someone stabbed?
No, I stabbed somebody.
Oh, it says, I saw someone being stabbed over 20 rocks of heroin?
No, I stabbed that guy. It was over with that AK and the pound of weed he robbed.
So you stabbed over...
Yeah, I stabbed this Jamaican dude. I don't want to say that on camera, though. I'm incriminating myself.
Did they go after you? Did anyone go after you?
He shot at me, but it dropped him. He couldn't get up after the ground. I got him under the armpit with a knife about that big. Bow! And he fell to the ground.
Did the cops investigate it?
Mm.
So it's like it just went away?
Mm-hmm. Nothing happened. I told my mom about that.
Well, what'd she say?
What? No. Well, that's when I had a bullet hole in my windshield. That's when he shot, he hit my windshield. But it, like literally before I could duck and hide, it spidered right in front of my face. It'd have killed me.
Not sure if that's bragging or the real deal, but one way or another, it's a problem.
Well, one way or another, it's a confession.
Correct.
You said something earlier that I thought was really interesting. You said, I don't know why I do this.
Everything that I do, I really do feel like that I am helping my son. But
Really, take a look at this picture right here. You helped him get this scar because he had an infected heart valve from a dirty needle, and you've driven him to get drugs.
Yes, I have.
You've put him in the car and driven him to get drugs.
Yes, I have.
So let's be real clear. You're doing what you're doing to make you feel better. The hell with him. That's the bottom line. That's the result of what you're doing. That's the ugly truth.
That's awful.
That's awful. And you say, maybe I'm his savior? Yeah. He says, I got a second mama. He says, I got a second mama. You know who he's talking about?
Yes.
It's a lady that runs a drug house. He loves her and she loves him.
Yes.
Why does he love her?
Because she supplies him with drugs.
And why does he love you?
Because I give him the money to do it.
Yeah, he's got two women in his life. One gives him the money to give to the other woman to give him the drugs. The two women in his life are killing him.
Put it like that.
Is there any other way to put it?
No.
Am I telling you the truth?
Wholeheartedly. Everything's true.
I'm not telling you what you want to hear. I'm telling you the truth.
You're telling me the truth. Yeah.
And don't you know, people know the truth when they hear
I'm
it.
killing my own son.
Yeah, and you're going to stop.
Yes, I am, Dr. Phil. Yes, I am.
right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, then it's time to meet Cameron. He's here. He says he actually has two mothers that are helping him with his addiction, Rena and a woman he calls his second mama. It's time to meet him. We'll be right back.
I got a 60 rock in my pocket. I don't call it heroin, I call it medicine. I'll be right back. Second mama, she was a user in Chicago and a prostitute. She can hit my veins and she just generally cares for me.
I already have some made up for you.
You already know. Woo!
I love you. I love you so much.
I love you too. That's why you're my second mama.
Cameron's family knows that he is a drug addict, but they have never actually seen him using drugs. But he allowed our cameras to just be a fly on the wall and document a raw, unfiltered day in his life. Now, let me be very clear here. We didn't ask him to do anything out of the ordinary. We didn't ask him to do anything for the cameras at all. Here's what we got.
My dealer is dropping something off at my second mom. I call her my second mom. I just gotta walk over there and pick up my stuff. That's where the biggest drug dealer he lived. He got life. He cut the heroin with fentanyl and killed 3 people. I'll be right back. Second mama, she was a user in Chicago and a prostitute. She can hit my veins and she just generally cares for me.
I already have some made up for you.
You already know.
And then I have to get some for you to take home too. But listen,
Are you
need to go to
suspect?
Walgreens and get some clean. I love you. I love you so much.
I love you too. That's why you're my second mama. Yeah, my mom knows about her. I did a muscle shot because I couldn't find a vein quick enough just to get well real quick. But I got a 60 rock in my pocket. I don't call it heroin, I call it medicine. I need to go to Walgreens and buy a new pack of needles because I only got old ones at my house. And I'm not going to use old ones because that's what causes this. That is from where I had endocarditis on my heart. And it wasn't from the heroin, it was from bacteria on a needle. You know, it's what drugs would do to you. But it wasn't enough to scare me into being sober. I'm starting to feel sick. I think I'm going to do another shot. It's like shooting motor oil in your veins. It's terrible. I want people to see this. How you have a life from someone that came from such a good background to this. A day in the life of a heroin addict. Addiction is so strong that I have to lie to my own family. I lock myself in the bathroom and use, which my mom be always like, why are you locking the door, all this and that. I mean, she knows. I don't want her to ever see me stick a needle in my arm. I've stolen a lot of money from my family, probably thousands of dollars. I stole her wedding ring, but I gave it back to her. At first, that was my plan, was to sell it and make about $1,000. But that's how much grab heroin has on you. This is my night shot that'll get me through the night so I'm not sick in the middle of the night. I'll be sick in the morning still when I wake up. Nasty, nasty stuff. 3 little veins in my finger right there. Pretty desperate. I don't have any left. And now I have a histamine reaction. That'll be my nightcap.
It's real. When you see it, that's real.
Well, Cameron is here, so Cameron, please join us. Cameron, how you doing?
All right, so you?
I'm okay. How are you feeling physically right now?
I'm feeling all right. I took a medication that helps with the sickness of opiates. It's a Suboxone medication.
Are you doing drugs now to get high, or are you doing drugs to keep from getting sick?
Drugs don't, just to get me not sick. Drugs don't get me high anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't been high in a long time.
You started using heroin in your senior year of high school.
Right. That's before I was even injecting heroin, snorting. Snorting, heroin.
Were you aware that he was using in high school?
No.
No.
So this has been going on a long time.
Yes, sir. I admit that.
Tell me where you think you're headed at this point. Where do you think this is going to lead you? Where are you going to wind
It's
up?
going to kill me. It's going to take me out. I use like that where it'll kill me eventually. Because I'm catching the infections. I'm doing all that. It's just a matter of time.
But you were in the hospital, you had an infected heart valve, you had to have surgery, you've got a scar running down, and you said that wasn't enough. You got back out and started using immediately.
Yeah, fear will not keep me sober. The pull is so strong that all of a sudden I'm just there, subconsciously.
You talk about this second mama you have. You say she loves you.
Yeah.
You left the hospital against medical advice, and you said she gave you a 50 rock to celebrate. Happy that you were alive.
Yeah, she hadn't seen me in 2 months after jail and in the hospital.
She loves you. So as soon as you get out of the hospital, she gives you some more poison to make sure that you continue to be hooked. Make sure you continue to be a customer.
Right. Yeah, it sounds stupid.
Stupid because it is stupid.
Yeah.
And Cameron says once the dream of college and going pro was no longer an option, he says his father, quote, dumped him. We'll talk about that after the break. Let's assume that you don't kill yourself with drugs. What do you think you're going to do?
I don't know what I would even like anymore. I haven't been sober long enough. It's kind of an emotional time for me right now because I loved baseball so much. It was really taken away from me from injuries, which I wish I could go out there and play right now, but I know I can't. I can never play sports again. That was my plan, was to play college ball, and I had offers. It was all gone that quick. My arm was my golden ticket.
I loved watching him pitch.
And growing up, my dad was my best friend. We did everything together.
We loved sports, both of us did. I would take him to sporting events. That was the type of relationship we had.
After I couldn't play baseball anymore, my dad abandoned me. Our relationship went to crap. I still felt like I was a disappointment because I didn't make it to college ball.
I wanted him to go to college. I played baseball in college, had a lot of success in college. I wanted him to experience that. If I had just said, hey, dude, why don't we just quit playing baseball and not have the shoulder surgery, would that have kept this from happening?
Me and my dad have no relationship whatsoever now.
I wonder every day, is there something I could have done?
This is how my life is. I'm on the dirt, and I want to be out there in the field, in the green grass. What I could have been, it breaks my heart to what I am now. If I was sober, I don't know who I'd be. Because I've never been sober long enough to know who I am.
What do you think about what he's saying?
I don't know where that comes from completely. I mean, yeah, we have gone south in the last 3 years more so. I've even tried to take him out of state. He'd been clean 90 days, start over. And when that all went south, at that point, I knew this was probably February of last year, that I basically had to drop a hammer at this point, that we're out of control.
You miss a relationship with your dad?
No, yeah, I do. No doubt.
Were you sober for 90 days?
Yeah. Yeah, I went to rehab and then to a 2-month.
How'd that feel?
It felt good. I felt like an accomplishment to get 90 days, but that monkey, I mean, my head, I don't know, that monkey was still on my back, I guess, even after 90 days. Because it's not like I was having withdrawals or I was sick then. So I don't know what brought me back to using.
It's also not the first time that he's gotten sober for a certain amount of time. I think getting sober is something he can do. Was raised to be able to get things done. He can do that part. But the foundation for where he's at when he is sober, realizing the people that he's hurt, realizing where his friends that he once had are now, where they're at now in life. I think that's what.
So why'd you start using again?
I think the disappointment. Well, I don't even know, honestly.
Let's assume that you don't kill yourself with drugs. And life expectancy right now for a male is 86.
Right.
That means you got 60 years that you've got to do something with.
Yeah.
That's a long time to sit around twiddling your thumbs. What do you think you're going to do with 60 years? This is going to be a little boring, isn't it?
I don't know
what I would even like anymore. I haven't been sober long enough.
Well, I've got a question for you that just might be absolutely outcome determinative in your life. And I'm going to ask you right after the break. So now you're just doing drugs to keep from being sick.
Yes, sir.
Every day. And so your goal in life is to not feel sick.
Right.
So that's pretty much survival. But I said I had a question for you. And the question for you is really pretty simple. The question is, what if? What if you're wrong that your career in athletics is not over? What if you're wrong that your dreams have not all been taken away from you? What if you're wrong that there's nothing left for you to get excited about? What if you're wrong that there's nothing even average about you, that you're not just a normal Joe, average Joe, that you're less than an average Joe? What if the fact of the matter is that if you got clean and sober, there were a number of things that you could pursue that would give you a different route to the same thing that you've always wanted? What if you had the guts and the courage and the drive that always made you the champion that you were, that you just took a different avenue to? What if you could become a pro scout? What if you could become a coach? What if that's out there? Wouldn't it be tragic if you never gave yourself a chance and never took a look?
Waste of talent.
You said fear won't motivate me to be sober.
The fear of dying.
But how about a dream and a goal?
I don't know how I'd feel, but I know it'd probably be a pretty good feeling. I can only imagine.
But you don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't tell you how that feels, but I can only imagine it'd feel pretty good.
Would you like my help in taking a look?
Yeah, I'd love it.
Let me advise you of a couple of things in case you want to change your answer. Because when I get involved, I'm like a bad rash. It just never goes away. Because see, I've got this theory that you never surrender to the disease. And once I get involved, I will haunt you to the ends of the earth to get you and keep you sober. I want to introduce you to somebody. Joining us is Dr. Barry Ryman. Now, he is the Vice President of Business Development at Recovery Unplugged. Now, Recovery Unplugged is blazing new trails by using the power of music to help patients heal. Now, their music-assisted treatment program has become a proven and effective recovery resource for their patients. Please welcome Dr. Barry Ryman. Thank you. Dr. Ryman, we've got somebody here that when he truly puts his mind to something, I think would be hard to keep up with. You guys can help him, true?
Absolutely. As a young man, when I was 20 years old, I got sober, and I'm sitting here 23 and a half years later, and I never I didn't have half the desire that you're displaying right now.
We will bring coaching resources to bear with him. We will introduce him to the right people. We will get him on a career path. We will put him with a running start. I do know a few people. And I will stand up for you and stand by you when it's time to get going. Fair enough? Okay. All right. We're out of time. I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Dr. Barry Ryman and Recovery Unplugged. Now, for more information about today's show, you can log on to drphil.com. And I'm going to have a link for these folks on our site today so you can learn more about what's going on. I saw this tweet on my Twitter the other day, and it made me laugh. Christina tweeted, at Dr. Phil, my family and I watch you every day. My baby never cries when your show is on. Hashtag baby whisperer. Well, thanks. I'll see you next time.